The once stable economic partnership between the United States and Canada has entered a period of intense strain. Former President Trump's sweeping tariffs on Canadian goods, aimed at protecting American jobs, marked a sharp break from decades of free trade. The tariffs hit key Canadian sectors like steel and aluminum, disrupting deeply integrated supply chains. Canada, feeling betrayed, condemned the move and warned that the tariffs would hurt both economies. As tensions rose, Canada prepared a robust response, determined not to absorb the economic blow without retaliation. The stage was set for a dramatic escalation, with Canada's answer soon to emerge from British Columbia. The Canadian counterstrike came from British Columbia, not Ottawa. Premier David Eby announced significant tolls on all commercial trucks using BC highways to reach Alaska, a direct response to U.S. tariffs. Framed as a user fee, the tolls were a calculated move to target a critical American dependency. The plan drew strong support in Canada, symbolizing national resolve and shifting the pressure to a vulnerable U.S. supply line. By leveraging its geography, BC forced the U.S. to confront the real consequences of its trade policies. The dispute had now become a high-stakes regional standoff, with the world watching as a vital American lifeline was threatened. At the heart of the conflict lies the Alaska Highway, a 387-mile engineering marvel carved through some of North America's most rugged wilderness. Built at breakneck speed during World War II, it was more than just a road. It was a lifeline, a symbol of unprecedented U.S.-Canada cooperation in the face of global crisis. Thousands of workers, both American and Canadian, braved harsh conditions to connect the remote north to the rest of the continent, forging bonds that would last for generations. Today, the Alaska Highway remains the state's main supply route, a vital artery for the delivery of everything from groceries and medical supplies to fuel and construction materials. For many Alaskans, it's not just a road. It's a lifeline that keeps communities connected and economies running, especially in the face of harsh winters and vast distances. Recognizing its importance, the U.S. and Canada signed a landmark treaty in 1977 explicitly prohibiting tolls or fees on the highway. This agreement was meant to guarantee free passage for generations, cementing the highway's status as an open corridor for trade, travel, and cooperation. But times have changed. The government of British Columbia now argues that the costs of maintaining and upgrading the aging highway infrastructure have soared, and that new fees are necessary to keep the route safe and reliable. They claim that modern realities and increased traffic justify revisiting the old agreement, exploiting what they see as a legal gray area. The United States, however, sees these proposed tolls as a clear violation of the 1977 treaty, sparking a heated diplomatic dispute. Canadian officials counter that the agreement must evolve to reflect current economic and logistical challenges, insisting that adaptation is necessary for the future. What was once a proud symbol of unity and shared purpose has now become a legal and diplomatic battleground, with both sides digging in over questions of sovereignty, fairness, and the meaning of international agreements. The outcome of this dispute will not only determine the future of the Alaska Highway, but will also test whether historic treaties can withstand the pressures of modern economic conflict and shifting national interests. The proposed tolls expose Alaska's deep vulnerability, laying bare the unique challenges faced by America's northernmost state. Unlike any other in the nation, Alaska's geography and remoteness make it especially susceptible to disruptions in its supply lines. The state's vast wilderness, harsh climate, and limited infrastructure mean that even small changes at the border can have outsized impacts on daily life. Isolated from the lower 48, Alaska relies on the highway for nearly all goods and services. Every truck that crosses the border carries food, medicine, fuel, and countless essentials that keep communities functioning. Without these lifelines, shelves would empty quickly, and basic needs could go unmet. The highway is not just a road, it's a vital artery connecting Alaskans to the rest of the world. Tolls would drive up costs, spark inflation, and threaten small businesses, with ripple effects across the state. For many local shop owners, even a modest increase in transportation expenses could mean the difference between staying open and shutting down. The economic strain would be felt in every corner, from bustling cities to the most remote villages. Nowhere is this more acute than in Hyder, Alaska, a town accessible only through Canada, fully dependent on its neighbor for daily life. Residents here cross the border for groceries, medical care, and even to send their children to school. For Hyder, the border isn't just a line on a map, it's a lifeline. Fears of isolation have led residents to stockpile essentials, highlighting the human cost of the dispute. Families are filling pantries, preparing for the possibility of being cut off for days or even weeks. The anxiety is palpable, as uncertainty looms over every household. The people of Hyder are caught in a conflict they didn't choose, their fate tied to diplomatic negotiations. They watch and wait, hoping for a resolution that will restore their sense of security and normalcy. Their voices, though small in number, echo the concerns of many Alaskans. Alaska's predicament is a stark reminder of how political decisions can endanger real communities. It's a story of resilience, but also a warning, one that underscores the fragile balance between policy and the everyday lives of those living on the edge of America. The conflict threatens to expand beyond the highway. Canada could restrict U.S. access to the Inside Passage, crippling Alaska's tourism and supply routes to coastal cities. Airspace is also at risk. Canada could deny overflight rights, forcing costly detours for flights to Alaska. These moves would devastate Alaska's economy and disrupt travel and trade. The Trump administration has responded with threats of more tariffs and treaty reviews. The standoff has become a three-front battle: land, sea, and air, where every route to Alaska is a bargaining chip. The stakes have never been higher for both nations. The fallout is spreading on both sides of the border. In Canada, job losses loom and economic nationalism surges, with provinces like Ontario imposing new tariffs on U.S. electricity. Grassroots boycotts and anti-American sentiment are on the rise, while tourism to the U.S. plummets. In the U.S., businesses face higher costs and supply disruptions, and market confidence is shaken. The Trump administration's rhetoric has only deepened the divide as both governments dig in. Long-standing treaties and norms are under threat, and a diplomatic deep freeze has set in. The crisis is reshaping public attitudes and economic choices, making a quick resolution unlikely. The recent standoff between the U.S. and Canada serves as a stark reminder of just how delicate the fabric of global trade truly is. What once seemed like a seamless flow of goods and services across borders is now threatened by rising tensions and uncertainty. As protectionist policies gain momentum in several countries, the world watches with growing anxiety. Economists warn that a single dispute can trigger a domino effect, disrupting supply chains and shaking investor confidence. The fear is palpable, as markets react to every new development, and businesses brace for potential fallout. In response, the United Nations and other international organizations are working tirelessly behind the scenes, seeking diplomatic solutions to prevent escalation. Meanwhile, the European Union and major Asian economies are not just bystanders. They are actively preparing contingency plans, aware that the consequences could ripple far beyond North America. Amid this climate of uncertainty, voices calling for renewed cooperation are growing louder. Political leaders are urging dialogue and compromise, while ordinary citizens take to the streets, demanding that their governments prioritize peace and collaboration over conflict. At the grassroots level, activists and volunteers are mobilizing communities, organizing events and campaigns that promote sustainable trade and peaceful cross-border relations. Their efforts are a testament to the power of collective action, and a reminder that real change often begins from the ground up. The Alaska Highway, once built as a symbol of unity and cooperation during challenging times, now stands as a beacon of hope. It reminds us that even in moments of division, there is always a path toward reconciliation and mutual understanding. The journey ahead will not be easy, yet the enduring bonds between communities on both sides of the border offer a glimmer of optimism. If unity and empathy can prevail over conflict, there is still hope for a future where diplomacy triumphs in a fractured world.